Hello everyone and welcome back to Miss Key's classroom. My name is Rachel and today I'm sitting down to have a chat with all of my pre-service teacher friends out there who are maybe at uni and about to go on placement for the first time, or maybe those people who are in their final year of uni and about to go on their last placement before they graduate. It was only a couple of years ago that I was a pre-service teacher as well, so I remember exactly what it's like, and all the feelings you're having now and all the questions you've got now, I definitely had myself. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing all the advice that I wish I had when I was a pre-service teacher and at uni, so that you can hopefully have an incredible and amazing placement experience. Alright, let's start off with the things that you need to do before you even start placement, before you have your first day. These are the things that you need to do in the weeks before placement so that you can get prepared. So number one, you need to get in touch with your mentor teacher. Often the uni will give you their email address, so send them an introductory email. Introduce yourself, tell them a bit about yourself, how excited you are to be at the school, all of those good things. And then you need to ask them a few questions as well. First of all, you need to find out what you are teaching. If you're at a primary school, you'll likely be told straight up which year level you're teaching. And so maybe you've got year threes, but you need to find out what specific units or topics you'll be covering. Are you just doing writing with them? Are you suddenly doing science? You know, those sorts of things. So find out what specific subjects or topics you need to plan for. And then same with high school. You might be told that you are teaching English, but what year level are you teaching? Are you teaching year 7s? Are you teaching year 12s? So that you can sort of prepare for that as well. In that email that you send your mentor, also find out if there's anything else that you need to know, specifically things like school start times and end times, what time they want you to get there, or maybe if there's anything else specific other than planning for those lessons that they want you to do or that they need you to bring on your first day. Those things are all super important to ask in that first initial email. Alright, number two follows on from number one. If you are sending your mentor an email, you need to check your email then. Because the uni, the school, and your mentor will be sending out so many emails about what you need to do, what you need to bring, all the general information, and so make sure you're checking your email. It would be super frustrating for a mentor to write back to you and then you not check your email and so you don't even know what's going on. So it seems obvious, but check your email. Alright, number three is things that you should sort of get ready to bring with you before your first day of placement. Number one, food. You are going to get hungry and you are going to need food because you are going to be going a million miles an hour often during placement, and so bring little snacks that you can have. Often you might not have as much time as you think. You might think, oh, I've got 40 minutes for lunch, but it will actually only end up being 20. So I used to bring lots of little snacks that I could have throughout the day, you know, in between lessons and those sort of things to keep me going. So make sure you bring food. With food, you've got to have water as well. Obviously, bring a drink bottle. You don't want to be dehydrated and tired on placement. So drink your water, bring your water bottle as well. Make sure you have something to write with. So bring a notebook and a pen that you can write things down on, so that if your mentor, you know, you have a meeting with your mentor, you can just quickly jot down the notes or something like that. So bring something to write on and something to write with. On top of that, bring whiteboard markers as well. It's a sign that you're sort of prepared and you're ready to go, and that you don't need to ask your mentor, oh, can I please borrow a whiteboard marker? You've already got them. They're already in your bag, ready to go. So get yourself a set of whiteboard markers as well. And then the last one that I found really useful when I was on placement is a list of the EXTL standards. This applies if you are in Australia, because they are the teaching standards that we have to adhere to. But find a list of the graduate teacher standards because you'll be able to go through and tick those off during your placement. My understanding is that a lot of universities do the portfolio of work now. So if you are in maybe third year or fourth year uni, you will be gathering all of this evidence and all of these things that you do to put in a portfolio and show that you can hit those standards. So print out a list of them so that you can tick them off as you cover them throughout your placement. So they're just the essentials that I think you should bring. Obviously, there's other things like a laptop so that you can maybe make resources and that sort of stuff. As you go through placement, you'll find other things that you need to bring, but definitely those are my essentials that you need to have. So number 4 is lesson plans and unit plans. You need to start working on these before you start placement so that you can give them to your mentor teacher. It's super important that you do both a unit plan and lesson plans so that your mentor can see the big picture, which is the unit plan, so the big overall of what you're doing, and then the individual lesson plans as well. Check with your mentor how far in advance you need to supply lesson plans, but definitely the unit plans you should provide before you start placement so that they can check over it and maybe see if there's anything missing or maybe something you've overlooked. To do my unit plans and my lesson plans, I created a little template when I was at uni, which I found was super helpful. I've linked it down below. It's available for free on my Teachers Pay Teachers. So if you are looking for a new template or maybe just starting out and you have no idea how to lesson plan or unit plan, check that one out because it's like a step-by-step guide of what I did and maybe things that you should consider when you are unit planning and lesson planning. But yeah, definitely make sure you've got both of those unit plans and lesson plans and get them to your mentor as soon as you can. Obviously, things will change while you're on placement and maybe you create a lesson plan that you think is amazing and whatever, and it's for the 4th lesson that you're going to be teaching. But then by the time you get to there, it's maybe not quite what you wanted it to be, or maybe you've thought of something else that you want to be teaching instead. That's okay if it changes. As long as you keep your mentor in the loop and send it to them again if it changes, then that's fine. Same with the unit plan. Anytime you update it, just flick it onto your mentor so that they've got an updated copy of it as well. Also, side note, if anyone's interested in a full video about how to lesson plan and how to unit plan, let me know in the comments below and I can definitely film one of those for you. I'm just not sure how many people are actually interested in that because I know that different unis teach it differently and that sort of thing. So if you are interested in like a full video about how I lesson plan and unit plan, please let me know in the comments and I will definitely get onto filming one of those for you. Alright, now let's move on to the advice that I have for you while you are actually on placement. The first thing that is number 1 in my mind is that you need to be on time. Ask your mentor what time they want you to get there in the morning and you need to be there earlier than that time or at that time. I get that things happen, but you know, if it's your first day of placement and you don't know how long it's going to take you to get to school, leave early, okay? Make sure you are there on time. It's so important and you want to make a really good impression, and so one way that you can do that is being there on time. Also check what time you can leave school as well. It's not a great look if you are running out the door 2 minutes after the bell's gone. And so ask your mentor, you know, what time do you stay after school, and leave when they leave. If there's someone who leaves super early, I would suggest that you stay later and maybe see if there's other teachers who need a hand or something like that. But definitely check the time you can leave and the time you need to be there and get there at those times. Alright, number 2 is to regularly seek feedback from your mentor. A heap of mentor teachers will give you feedback without you even asking, but make sure that you do get that feedback from them if they don't just give it to you. Mentors give feedback in heaps of different ways. Some of them give you like written notes, others just give you verbal feedback or maybe notes on your lesson plans. Or notes against the teaching standards. So whatever the way they do it, just make sure you're getting that feedback so that you can implement it. You can reflect on maybe what you need to improve on and you can change those things for future lessons to come. So arrange meetings with your mentor, maybe, you know, once every couple of days, or whether it just be after each lesson or something. Work out with your mentor what's best for them, because remember that they are really busy people and they've got lots on as well. And so they might be able to only meet like once a week or something like that. So be flexible with your time, but yeah, make sure you're getting those meetings in so that you can get feedback from them. Those meetings are also a really good opportunity to ask any questions that you have. While I was on placement, I could only meet with my mentor once per week because she was head of the history department and head of another department as well. And so during the week before I'd meet with her, I would write down all the questions that came to mind so that I had them sort of ready to go when I got into the meeting. Because the worst thing is when you know you had a question to ask and you just cannot remember what it is because you didn't write it down. So write down those questions ready to take into you to each meeting so that you can ask them. It's better doing it that way, I found, than sort of just bombarding your your mentor teacher with questions, like one question at a time, if that makes sense. Better to just ask them all together, get all the answers you need so that you can go home, plan your lessons, all those sorts of things. So make sure you're regularly meeting with your mentor to ask the questions that you have and to get that very, very valuable feedback from them. Alrighty, we're up to number 3, which is to build relationships with these students that you are teaching. This is my sort of number 1 behavior management technique because the more you get to know the students, the more you have that relationship with them, the less behavior management you're going to have to deal with, because they'll trust you and they'll respect you, and so they will want to behave for you. And so I guess early on, build those relationships with the students. Start by learning their names. That is a super important one. If you're a high school teacher, so you're on placement at high school, you're going to have lots of names to learn if you are working in multiple different classes. So work out a system to learn all their names. But it shows that you are interested in the student if you remember their name, or if you can call on them in class, it makes them maybe listen a little bit more. So learn their names to start off with. Some get to know you activities in your first couple of lessons also work really well. I usually write my students a letter which sort of tells them a bit about myself, and then they write me a letter in response. Obviously that one would depend on the year level you're in, but some sort of get to know you activity is good where they have the opportunity to get to know you as well. But yeah, build those relationships with the students because it shows that you want to get to know them. It makes them feel comfortable with you as their teacher. And like I said before, it alleviates heaps of behavior management stuff that you'll have to deal with because they'll feel comfortable and they'll trust you and all those sorts of good things. So work on building those relationships early on with the students, and trust me, your lessons will go way more smoothly than if you don't make the effort to get to know them. All right, number 4, I think that's what we're up to now. I think it's 4. If it's not, oh well. Number 4, I'm going to go with that, is to show initiative and to get involved in the school. Schools are incredible places and they've always got a million things going on at once. So get involved where you can. Find out if there's extracurriculars you can help out with, or school events or parent nights or something like that. Find out when those things are and how you could maybe help out with them. People are always watching you when you are on placement, and so you obviously want to make a good impression. And the schools, they remember those people who go that extra mile to sort of get involved in the school and to help out where they can, because you never know, one day down the track they might need a contract teacher and they think of you because they remember how much you got involved and you were dedicated to the school when you were on placement, and then what do you know, you've got a contract. So get involved in the school where you can and find out when those activities are that maybe you could help out with, but also try not to spread yourself too thin. While you're on placement, obviously there's heaps going on and there's lots that you've got to do, and so it's obviously great to get involved, but don't overcommit. So I guess make sure that you are helping out, but yeah, know your limit of, okay, this is plenty for me, and then know that it's okay to say no. All right, I know that when you're on placement you think, all right, I've got to say yes to everything and I've got to be involved in every single extracurricular that there is, but you definitely don't, and it is okay to say no as well. So I guess get involved, but also know your limits. Good to find that balance between those. Hopefully that one makes sense. Okay, number 5 is all about making mistakes, being prepared to make mistakes, and being okay with making mistakes, because they are 100% going to happen, but it's totally fine. They are meant to. The great news is that we actually learn best when we make mistakes, and so be prepared to make them and be prepared to learn heaps from the mistakes that you do make. Not every lesson is going to go the way you plan it, and that's okay. You just need to reflect on it and learn from it next time. One of the things that happened to me in my first ever lesson that I taught on placement was that my lesson ran 20 minutes under time. And so it got to 20 minutes before the end of the lesson and I'd finished all the activities I'd planned, and I had 26 or so year 11 sitting in front of me waiting for me to introduce the next task, and I had nothing planned. And so I learned from that in each lesson I need to sort of have a backup plan in place so that if my lesson does run really under time, I've got something up my sleeve to do. So yeah, that was a mistake, but I learned from it. And so while you're on placement, don't beat yourself up too much if something doesn't quite go the way you plan it, or you do make a mistake, because we learn from them and we get better. And so don't stress if you make a mistake, just reflect on it and learn from it, and it's all good. All right, we're nearly there. We're up to number 6, which is if you are struggling or if you need help, make sure you talk to someone. Your mentor is your mentor teacher for a reason. They are there to help you. So if you are struggling with maybe a particular area of teaching, maybe you're really struggling with behavior management or something like that, sit down and have a chat to them, see what advice they've got, and maybe work out strategies that you could implement and all those sorts of things. So if you're having issues with particular areas of teaching, chat to your mentor. Also, if you are feeling, I guess, really overwhelmed and like you can't cope with the workload and that sort of thing, make sure you voice that to your mentor. It's better to keep them in the loop so that you can, I guess, work out a plan together in order to overcome that, rather than trying to deal with it all yourself. Another thing is, remember that your uni is an awesome source of help as well if you do need it. Maybe you are midway through your placement and things aren't quite where they're meant to be at with your mentor. Maybe things aren't quite working out the way you thought they would. And so if you do have concerns, you are allowed to voice them to the uni. Unis should send out a liaison or a person from the uni to come and observe lessons or just chat to the students on placement. And so if you do have problems, maybe with things that are happening with your mentor, it's okay to voice those to the uni and ask for help and ask for support with that as well. So there's 2 people you can talk to just to start with. Obviously there's heaps of people you can ask for help, but your first sort of place to go should be your mentor, and then following on from that should be the uni. But yeah, remember that you're still learning, and so it's 100% to feel like you don't have it all figured out and that you do need a little bit of extra support from people. All right, last one, number 7, is to have fun and enjoy yourself. Placement can be really stressful and it can be overwhelming and you're under lots of pressure, but it is also an incredible time in your teaching career, because you get to work out who you want to be as a teacher. For some of you, it might be the first time that you've ever stood up in front of a class and taken a lesson. And so enjoy that. Enjoy getting to work out your teaching identity, I guess. Work out who you want to be when you stand up in front of the class and what kind of lessons you want to have. Placement is an awesome time to work those things out. Also enjoy getting to meet an incredible bunch of students, or enjoy getting to make friends with other teachers. For the first time, you might have friends who are teachers, you might become friends with your mentor or other teachers at the school. So enjoy that and have fun with that. And I guess, yes, placement is important, and obviously you need to pass uni and all that sort of stuff, but it's also an incredibly fun time, I guess. Yes, like I said before, you're stressed, you're under a lot of pressure, all of those sorts of things, but my placements, I honestly had such a fun time getting to know students and experimenting with activities, experimenting with lessons, trying new things, learning heaps. So placement, yeah, it's a lot and you're, I guess, under pressure and you're really busy and trying to manage your time and all of that. But in my experience, it's also really fun as well. And so remember to enjoy it. Remember to enjoy the golden moments that happen with the students and all of those sorts of things, because you'll probably look back and remember, okay, you know what, that placement, it was actually great. And so remember to enjoy it and remember to have fun. All right, we're all done. That is my advice for all those pre-service teachers out there. If you are going on placement this year or going on placement soon, absolute best of luck. You're going to completely smash it out of the park. I can already see it. Hopefully this video answered a lot of the questions that you had, and that this advice helps you as you prepare for placement. But if there is anything that I missed or any other questions that you have, please drop me a comment below. I'd be more than happy to have a chat. But for now, thank you so much for joining me for this video, and I will talk to you all very, very soon in my next one. Bye!